K'nekotein. I hope you've been well. Since last we spoke, the Justiciar has been busy felling fiends all across Thavnair, leaving a trail of witnesses behind in his wake. More than a few have reported seeing stones falling from the sky, which all but confirms our theory that the treasure is causing the phenomenon. The stories share one more peculiar commonality. It seems the pests he hunts have all been of the seedkin variety. Why he avoids beasts of flesh and blood is yet a mystery. It bears mentioning that each of these eyewitness accounts came from people who were rescued by the Justiciar, who invariably appears just as these creatures attack. In fact, the Justiciar has been there to save the day in every single instance of seedkin-related mischief. Awfully suspicious, if you ask me, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. Some among the Radiant host have suggested that the Justiciar is planning these assaults somehow, so he alone can reap the glory from thwarting them. I agree, and think this should be our next avenue of investigation. Many of these incidents occurred near the giant school grounds, so we should start our search there. If we can find one of these monstrous plants before it finds hapless prey, we may be able to shed light upon the Justiciar's methods. Time is of the essence, so let's leave at once. Any moving bushes? Slithering vines? Not here, in any case. K'nekotein, I'll search the western path. Why don't you search east? If you see something, don't strike to kill. Weaken it, then capture it with this rope. We'll learn much more from a live specimen. If you see any moving thing sprouting leaves, flowers, or the like, capture it with the rope and bring it here. I see plenty of fauna roaming about, but the flora all seems to be of the rooted to the ground variety. Perhaps my hunch was incorrect. You found one. In fact, this is exactly as an eyewitness described. Why don't you keep it for the time being? Bring it to the Great Work, and I'll ask my acquaintance there to examine it with all haste. This alchemist and I spoke briefly the last time I was here. Give her the little seedkin you caught, and we'll see what she makes of it. Mistress Tepik told me what to expect. Well then, let's see the thing. Oh, I didn't expect it to be so diminutive. If Mistress Tepik's intuition is correct, then I expect some interesting discoveries are in store. I only hope that my analysis aids you in finding the answers you seek.
Rest assured, the Radiant host are well aware of the Justiciar. Every day we receive more reports of him combating beasts in the surrounding wilderness. These encounters are never on well-traveled roads, it seems. They occur in remote regions that we scarcely patrol, along routes that are only used by a small number of merchants and porters. We have concluded that the Justiciar either has uncommon knowledge of the behavioral patterns of these creatures, or that he keeps close company with the merchant who travels those obscure paths. Whatever the man's true motives may be, it's clear he has uncommon knowledge of the region and its wildlife. The question is, how exactly would he come to know such things?
You're hungry to learn more of the Justiciar. He's amazing. I was lucky enough to catch a glimpse of him on the road leading here, facing down a fearsome creature. I don't know how he did it, but he called down rocks from the sky to knock that thing flat. The Radiant host were away on patrol, so if he hadn't come to our rescue, that brute would have marched right into our homes. He shouted that he was the savior of Rats at hand, and even waved at me. Oh, he looked so impressive with the sun shining behind him. He looked so gallant, standing over his fallen foe, waving at me with the sun at his back.
Don't tell me you've come chasing that half-baked savior. The younglings might be taken in by his honeyed words, but anyone with experience can see that he's nothing but a charlatan. And I have a story to prove it. A merchant I know took a tumble as he was transporting his goods. Not long after comes the justiciar, looking chivalrous as you please in his shining armor. But did he offer a helping hand? No. He ran off with nary a glance backwards. He may go on about slaying beasts, but a real hero would never ignore someone in need, even if they were just suffering from scraped knees and a bruised ego.
K'nekotein, do you have a moment? I'm having a little trouble here. I sought this merchant out because I was told he dealt with the alchemists in the great work. I thought he might know something about the justiciar, but when I asked well, he's been like this ever since.
Apologies, I was just surprised that you would ask me about that madman. What connection could he possibly have with me?
The fiends he fights are grown with rare alchemical materials, and we think he may be staging these encounters. Since you deal in such wares, I wondered if you might know how he came into their possession.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never spoken to that man.
I very much doubt that. Perhaps he'll be more receptive to questioning from you, K'nekotein.
Come now, any merchant with a nose for profit has good relations with the alchemists. By your way of thinking, any one of us could be in league with Virazon.
Virazon, you said? Who is that, may I ask?
What? Did I? No, that's my name. I'd be a fool to continue this charade any longer. My son Virazon is the one you know as the justiciar. To be suddenly confronted with his litany of misdeeds, I quite lost my composure.
You're his father. Then, do you know how he came into possession of such rare materials and knowledge?
He stole them from me. My most valuable materials and my precious maps. Yet I was the one who chose to hide that fact, and I bear the blame for the consequences.
What can you tell us about him as a person?
Virazon was obsessed with tales of legendary heroes, even from a young age. I paid a great deal of money to have him tutored in the art of the bow. He became quite skilled at it. In fact, but not quite as skilled as his arrogance led him to believe. Due to this, and perhaps a lack of ambition, he never aspired to true greatness. Instead, he came to rely upon fanciful equipment and exotic potions, rather than honing what skill he had. It pained me to see him fall into dissoluteness, but he would brook no counsel. So, several years ago I gave him enough coin to support his lavish lifestyle and told him never to speak with me again. He didn't, until but recently, when he darkened my doorstep once more.
And that was when he stole your goods.
Although I would have willingly given them if he had but asked. He was rambling almost incoherently, saying that his heroic deeds as the justiciar had caught the eye of someone named Miqo'te, leader of the Passage of the Unbound, whoever they are. He claimed that under the guidance of his newfound allies, he had obtained a great power. Power enough to eclipse all heroes who have come before and shall come after, as he put it. It seems he gives what money he still has to these people. To think that for all his fanciful words, he has only deigned to grasp at hollow glory, all at the expense of Rydia Han. There is no greater shame as a father.
Given what we know of this shadowy group, they most likely aim to sow discontent through Virazan's deeds. He may be so blinded by his own desire for adoration that he can't see whose hands are pulling his strings.
You're saying that he's being used? If that's true, then I can no longer remain silent, despite what shame it may bring. I see now that sharing my story might be the only way to save my son.
Indeed, I suggest you tell the Radiant host at once. Of course, we'll be pouring our every effort into stopping him.
Thank you for giving me direction. I didn't imagine our meeting would end this way.
Truth be told, I'm not entirely unsympathetic towards Virazan. I basked in my father's reflected glory, while having none of my own to speak of. The glory Virazan seeks is similarly false. I, too, shall visit the Radiant host and have them spread word of the Justiciar's true nature. If the people are wise to his trickery, they will be far more likely to aid us. He'll soon learn that a legend built on lies is no match for true heroism.